Are you wondering which skirts are completely out of style and which ones are very trendy for 2025 and 2026? I guarantee that many of these pieces you probably already have in your closet, and several of them may be either in or out of style. Want to know which ones? Then come with me. Number 1 on our list of out-of-style skirts is the denim skirt that's shorter, more tubular style, the one that fits tightly to the body. This model is definitely out of fashion. That doesn't mean you can't wear it, but a much more beautiful and interesting version has emerged, the revamped denim skirt, which is much more fashionable for 2026. This model is wider and usually comes in a slightly flared shape, with or without pleats. It's much more elegant, sophisticated, and brings that modern yet casual touch. After all, we're talking about denim. Denim is wonderful. It's that durable material that, if you choose wisely, you can wear for the rest of your life. The revamped denim skirt models for 2026 generally feature slightly deeper shades. So, we'll often see a darker blue, though that doesn't mean you can't wear lighter denim. It depends on what flatters you, your skin tone, your preferences, and your personal style. In general, there's a preference for darker jeans. The interesting thing about this skirt is that it works well for both casual and elegant looks. Everything depends on how you style it. A very interesting example is pairing it with a button-up shirt. A shirt like that brings a more traditional touch that contrasts beautifully with the denim skirt, resulting in a sophisticated and modern look. I also love pairing it with heels. You can go for slingbacks, boots, or classic pumps. That way, you bring more elegance and sophistication to the outfit. You can also create more casual looks by pairing it, for example, with sneakers. That gives you a more relaxed vibe. To complement it, choose a graphic tee on top. It will add a comfortable, casual touch. In fact, the denim skirt is perfect for women who love comfortable pieces. Another combination that's very trendy right now is the matching set, a denim top, usually a blazer or jacket, paired with the skirt. This creates an incredibly stylish and modern look. If you want something fresher on top, opt for a denim vest. That way, you create that all-denim look that's super trendy at the moment. Denim is very versatile, which means it pairs with a wide variety of colors. But if you want a fail-proof combination, go for deep blue paired with brown tones, whether it's a coffee brown or a terracotta brown, for example. It'll look beautiful and make your outfit stand out on any occasion. This is a combination that always works and that I've seen a lot recently. So, here's my tip for when you want a look that's guaranteed to work. If your goal is a more romantic outfit, go for flats or Mary Janes and, on top, a basic t-shirt or even one with slightly puffed princess sleeves. That will add a touch of romance. In other words, this is a very versatile, practical, and modern piece. There are various cuts, some more creative, others more classic, and you can choose the one you prefer. Denim, as I always say, goes in and out of fashion, but it never truly disappears. It's practically timeless. So, by choosing a piece that flatters your body type and personal coloring, you can be sure you'll have an everlasting wardrobe item. Number 2 on the list of out-of-style skirts is the basic black skirt, usually made of jersey fabric, a softer material that can look a little plain. It doesn't mean you can't wear it, but there are far more interesting options. One great example is the suede skirt. Suede has been in fashion for quite some time now. It's a material that usually brings a cozy texture. Personally, I think suede reminds us of fall and winter, but you can wear it whenever you want. This skirt works beautifully for autumn and spring color palettes because it often comes in soft caramel tones. I've noticed a wide variety of suede skirts, but the most popular ones right now are those that fall between short and knee length, usually mid-thigh or slightly above the knee. What's most interesting about this skirt is that it can be styled in many different ways. If you're aiming for an urban look, pair it with a black top, thicker tights, and combat boots. That gives you a modern, city chic vibe. For a more casual and simple look, pair it with a graphic tee that works really well too. And to finish it off, a denim jacket complements the outfit perfectly. In other words, you can move from a more modern vibe to something casual, comfortable, and cozy. If your style is more elegant, sophisticated, or even a bit preppy, pair it with two-tone ballet flats, usually with a black toe and a white or off-white body. You can also add a smaller bag, like a half moon or baguette style, which works really well. On top, a cream-colored sweater will look wonderful. That way, you can style this skirt whether short or long in a harmonious way. It's a durable material, just like denim, and if you take good care of it, it will last for a long time. So, choose the cut that makes you feel comfortable and enhances your beauty. Personally, I find flared or A-line silhouettes very beautiful because they're easier to style and wear long term. But of course, it all depends on your body type. In any case, keep in mind that if you like shorter skirts, you don't have to give them up in winter. Just wear them with tights. If you prefer longer skirts, opt for looser models, not because tighter ones are bad, but because more flowing styles like flared or A-line skirts are more comfortable, especially in warmer seasons like spring and summer. This way, you invest in a skirt that you can wear all year long in many different outfits. And as I mentioned earlier, if your color palette is autumn or spring, there's a good chance that the caramel or brown tones of suede will suit you very well. If you're a summer or winter woman, meaning you have a cool-toned beauty, you can also invest in suede, but prefer deeper, less orangey shades. The less orange, the better for you. Number 3, among the skirts that are out of style is the bubble skirt. The bubble skirt was a big trend, wasn't it, girls? This skirt really was one of those trends that everyone saw in the main stores. Still, I warned you, it's a fleeting trend, one of those that appear and soon disappear, especially because the style, mainly of the shorter versions of this skirt, doesn't flatter most women. If your goal is to have a creative skirt, a bold skirt, one that draws attention, I'd say we have an option that, in addition to doing that, also brings practicality. I'm talking about the cargo skirt. The cargo skirt also has that unique, different vibe, but it brings a lot of practicality to our daily lives thanks to its large pockets. When we talk about cargo skirts, we have a wide variety of lengths, from ultra-long skirts to very short ones. Currently, I've seen many column-shaped models, that is, very elongated ones. When we talk about cargo skirts, it's important to keep in mind that this is not an elegant skirt, not a traditional one, and definitely not a sophisticated one. It's truly very casual. So, I don't recommend it for work environments, especially if your workplace doesn't allow very casual clothes. I also don't recommend wearing it to any formal event. It's really that kind of skirt you wear when you're out for a walk or in a more relaxed, informal situation. Because of these characteristics, this skirt is very youthful and also works very well with other casual elements. It pairs beautifully with t-shirts and sneakers, as well as jackets, whether denim or leather. Some cargo skirt models come with a slit, and that slit adds even more visual interest to the piece. Another thing to keep in mind is that since this piece usually has large pockets, it draws a lot of attention in the outfit. That's why the skirt is usually the main point, the key item of the look. Thus, the accessories that go with it tend to be more basic. It's very uncommon to see someone wearing a cargo skirt with a printed blouse, for example, because both pieces would attract attention at the same time, taking away harmony from the composition. Generally, we see the cargo skirt combined with plain blouses without many visual details. At most, a t-shirt with a small graphic print, but nothing with large patterns, plaid, or floral. For shoes, the ideal is to choose sneakers or something more basic, nothing with platforms or too much detail. When we mix too many eye-catching elements with a cargo skirt, it usually doesn't work. As I said, it's a skirt that conveys a more casual and even rugged feel. It's very reminiscent of cargo pants, and when we think of cargo pants, we imagine something used for hiking, a more utilitarian style. That's why it doesn't go well with Mary Janes, slingbacks, or romantic elements. Puff sleeve blouses don't match either, and delicate floral blouses even less so. So, unless your style is very casual or you really like that sporty streetwear vibe, I don't recommend this skirt for you, even though it's trendy and replacing the balloon skirt. Keep an eye on it. It's an interesting skirt, but it's not for everyone. Number 4, among the skirts that are out of style is the tulip skirt. The tulip skirt is really quite forgotten. It's very likely that you don't even know it, because many people, whenever I mention it, say they didn't even know this skirt existed. But yes, it does exist. It's just a bit forgotten. Will it come back into fashion in the coming years? Well, while it doesn't, we replace it with a beautiful skirt that is also very trendy for 2026. I'm talking about 50s style skirt. What a wonderful skirt. It's usually a midi-length skirt, very flared, extremely sophisticated, elegant, and one that suits everyone. It brings that classic touch that enhances feminine beauty without needing to be bold. It's by no means a sensual style skirt. Quite the opposite. It's a piece that works very well in the traditional style. This is the kind of skirt you can wear regardless of your age. So, it doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60, this skirt will look great on you. As I said, it's a very traditional skirt. If you like that more sophisticated and elegant style, when you think of that Chanel-inspired look, then this skirt is perfect for you. It pairs very well with pumps and slingbacks, shoes traditionally associated with the elegant style. If you like that rich woman look, this skirt will flatter you a lot. Although it has this more traditional air and can even be associated with a retro style, it's also very modern. It doesn't look outdated. On the contrary, it brings lightness, subtle femininity, and an elegant structure. It's not one of those overly frilly romantic skirts. It's romantic, but with a sophisticated touch. In other words, it's a piece that every woman should have. If your goal is a more modern and urban touch, I'd recommend this skirt in black, as it's easier to match even with heavier shoes like chunky loafers, boots, or combat boots. If you want a lighter look, with that rich woman vibe, choose a more fluid fabric in lighter tones like cream. It'll look wonderful and dazzling. Slightly sheer or satin fabrics also bring that elevated, sophisticated touch. You can choose the length. If you want something more modern, go for just below the knee. If you prefer something more traditional and refined, the midi length is always an excellent choice. This is a skirt that can be paired with a huge variety of tops. It works very well with tank tops, classic button-down shirts, graphic or plain t-shirts, and even romantic blouses with puff sleeves. For shoes, the same logic applies. You can choose a delicate and feminine shoe, like a ballet flat or Mary Jane, a more sophisticated one, like a pump or slingback, or a heavier one, like a combat boot or chunky loafer. In other words, it's a skirt that, although sophisticated and traditional, is extremely versatile and will flatter all women and all styles. It's definitely one of the top choices for 2026. If you don't have one yet, it's really worth going to a store and trying it on. Number 5 on the list of skirts that are out of style are low-waisted skirts. Low-waisted skirts are also a bit more out of fashion. They are not completely out of style, but I would say that their biggest problem is that they are quite uncomfortable. After the world discovered the high-waisted skirt, practically no one wants to wear a low-waisted skirt anymore. This doesn't mean you can't wear one. I'm always saying here that your personal style is the most important thing. However, it's also worth noting that this type of skirt is a bit uncomfortable and doesn't flatter most women. As I always say here, fashion in 2026 is all about valuing comfort. So, why not replace this piece? If your goal is to have that bold and even sensual touch that a low-waisted skirt gives, the best option to replace it is to use a leather skirt. Leather skirts are very trendy for 2026 and are truly stunning pieces. I would say that the biggest issue with a leather skirt is durability. If you choose a faux leather skirt, know that it won't last very long. It won't last forever. Unfortunately, I've never seen a synthetic leather skirt that has good durability. If you know of a brand that lasts a long time, leave it in the comments. I'd love to know. Plus, you'll help other subscribers. This skirt does have that small drawback. If you opt for a real leather skirt, that piece tends to be timeless. If you take care of it gently and properly, you'll wear it for the rest of your life because it's a very strong and resistant material. Another detail about the leather skirt is that it tends to be a little warmer. That's why I don't recommend it for women who get hot easily or for situations where you'll feel too warm. Depending on the season, I'd say it's not worth choosing this skirt. It's a skirt that evokes autumn and winter vibes, but can be worn in other seasons depending on where you are. For example, if you're in an air-conditioned environment, there's no problem wearing a skirt like this. The length varies from shorter to longer skirts. I think that because leather has that slightly sensual touch, it pairs very well with more fitted pieces. It gives off sensuality, but in a refined and sophisticated way. As for colors, you can choose more traditional ones. Since we're talking about a timeless piece, it's not worth buying, for example, a yellow, blue, or printed leather skirt. The best option is to go for a solid color, preferably in a neutral tone black, brown, or off-white at most. These are excellent and perfect tones that work very well for most women, giving the skirt more longevity and allowing it to be worn and styled many times over the years. For shoes, I'd say this skirt goes very well with boots, but it looks stunning with a good pump. I think it highlights even more of the power and discreet sensuality of this skirt. I don't think it pairs well with sandals, especially very delicate ones. I feel it calls for a slightly heavier shoe, a closed one, or even a sandal with a thicker strap. That way, the look stays balanced. On the top, you can be a bit more versatile, but I'd say it pairs beautifully with more traditional blouses. A button-up shirt or even satin blouses bring that office chic touch that goes perfectly with this skirt. If you're looking for a piece worth investing in, one that's practically eternal and stunning, a truly distinctive item, I'd say this is one of the best options. It'll catch attention, but it will also flatter you. So, forget the low-waisted skirt. You can look sensual, beautiful, and elegant wearing a leather skirt without feeling uncomfortable. Now tell me, what's your favorite skirt? I want to know in the comments. Did you know your comment influences other subscribers here on the channel? So, share your opinion. I'll love reading which pieces you like and which ones you don't. I'm counting on your comment. And of course, you already know by commenting today's magic words, you help me a lot. And today's words are Out of Style Skirts 2026. I'm counting on your comment so I can keep bringing new videos every day. While you comment, let's keep going with the video. Number 6 on the list of skirts that are out of style are skirts in stronger tones. Here we have shades like neon, cobalt blue, and other very bright and eye-catching colors. These skirts are also out of fashion because they're giving way to models and tones that are more subtle, delicate, and versatile. For 2026, the most popular colors are gray, brown, and lighter tones such as off-white, white, and beige. These colors are the most in demand and trend forward, and that's no coincidence after all. We're talking about neutral and easy to match tones. Gray brings a touch of modernity, youthfulness, and variety from lighter to darker shades. I'd say that for a long time, gray was ignored in major fashion trends. We had many bold, flashy colors, and now it's returning as a replacement for those who don't look good in very bright pinks or greens. So gray brings a softness that works beautifully. For example, for those with a soft autumn or soft summer color palette, meaning it flatters tones that are often overlooked. Brown, of course, also deserves mention. After all, it's one of the main colors for 2026, especially cocoa brown. But you can include any shade from warmer, orange-tinted ones to deeper, almost black ones. What's interesting about brown is that it also acts as a substitute for black. Some people don't look good in black, myself included, for example. So, to replace it and enhance their natural beauty, we use brown or even gray. Gray and brown are perfect for women with gray hair, as they soften contrast and enhance natural beauty. That means they visibly reduce wrinkles and expression lines, since we're talking about softer, less contrasting tones. So maybe it's a great idea to swap that super bright skirt for a brown or gray one. Another option is lighter toned skirts: white, off-white, cream, and even tones that resemble wax paper, which is one of the predicted colors for 2026 and, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful. These tones will also enhance your beauty and bring a natural glow. If you've ever worked with photography or done a photo shoot, you've probably seen how people often use a large piece of white or light fabric to reflect light onto the face to smooth wrinkles to make us look younger and prettier. If you wear a light-colored skirt or even a dress, which is also an option, it'll create the same effect. This piece tends to reflect light toward your face, especially when you're sitting, because the light bounces off your legs and illuminates your face, giving that natural Photoshop effect. As I said, some people don't look good in black and others don't in white. If that's your case, it's better to choose off-white, cream, or beige. That's my case. I don't look good in pure black or pure white. I need a touch of gray or yellow. So, keep that in mind. If you wear that classic white blouse with black pants and it never seems to work for you, maybe these softer, more delicate tones are what your wardrobe is missing. For 2026, the best thing you can do is experiment. Go to a store and try on a brown, gray, or light-toned skirt that isn't necessarily white. Try them out, ladies! It's definitely the difference between buying clothes just to buy them and truly knowing what flatters you. When you know what suits you, you'll never waste money again. You'll always choose quality pieces that last because you know that no matter the moment, when you put that outfit on, you'll look stunning. So always experiment. And of course, if you like more colorful skirts, you don't have to stop wearing them. But as I always say, try them out. You might end up liking these new options even more than the super colorful ones. Number 7 on the list of skirts that are out of style is the mullet skirt. This model is known for being shorter in the front and longer in the back. It's a style that's also also a bit forgotten, and I think it's been quite a while since you've seen a skirt like this. It's not an ugly skirt, but it tends to bring a somewhat childish touch, so I'd say to be a little careful, especially if it's a very voluminous skirt, like a tulle one for example. Now, if you choose a slightly more fluid skirt, it tends to look a bit prettier. And of course, the greater the difference between the front and the back, the bolder and even a bit stranger the skirt looks. So, if you want to choose a mullet skirt to wear in 2026, go for one that doesn't have such a big difference in length between the front and the back. But if you want an equally creative option, I have a trendy alternative for you. I'm talking about tulle skirts. Tulle skirts come in a wide variety of styles. You can find tulle skirts with just a few layers or ones with many layers, even colorful multi-layered skirts. In other words, you'll find all kinds. The tulle skirt brings this whimsical touch and is also extremely romantic, but we need to be a little careful, especially when it comes to color and volume. If you choose a pink tulle skirt, for example, it will bring that romantic, feminine, and delicate feel almost like a ballerina. If you choose a more creative style, maybe a different color, and pair it with heavier accessories, you can create a really interesting alternative style, edgier and more urban, that will work very well. It goes great, for example, with chunky loafers or combat boots, it'll look very stylish. If you want an elegant and creative look, but a bit more sophisticated, I'd say pair it with pumps, it'll look beautiful. And the top part should also be interesting. You can wear a simpler blouse to draw more attention to the skirt, or even a traditional shirt, which also works really well. It's also possible to create extremely sophisticated and elegant outfits. For that, I'd say the tulle should have a little less volume and a bit more transparency. Within the 2026 trends, transparency is one of the main highlights. So, if you go for that slightly more transparent and less voluminous touch, you'll achieve a more modern and, in my opinion, much more beautiful look. The combination of a tulle skirt with black pumps and a black blazer, especially a more fitted blazer, looks incredibly chic. Colors make a big difference when we're talking about this. So, if you want a more sophisticated look, choose softer tones, especially cream, beige, and off-white. These shades usually look much prettier and more refined than, say, a bright pink or fuchsia, which bring that playful princess vibe and don't convey the same sophistication. As I mentioned earlier, shoes make a huge difference. For more sophisticated looks, a good pair of pumps will work perfectly. For more alternative and bold looks, pairing with heavier shoes like chunky loafers or combat boots will look great. If you want a more romantic touch, you can choose flats or Mary Janes, which also look lovely. And if you want a slightly more traditional touch, I'd say go for a two-tone Mary Jane, which will bring that Chanel-inspired look. Again, color makes a big difference. The more neutral and classic the color, the more sophisticated your look will be. The more creative, bold, and colorful the tone, the more daring and expressive your look will become. Overall, this is a skirt I recommend for fashion-forward and creative women. If you don't like to draw attention, this skirt isn't for you. But if you love making a statement and standing out wherever you go, then this is definitely a skirt you need in your wardrobe. And if you're enjoying this video, if you love beauty, trends, and tips, you need to subscribe to this channel because there are new videos here every day, always full of tips and fashion trends to keep you up to date with what's in style always firsthand. So if you enjoy videos like this, subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, check your subscription because sometimes YouTube unsubscribes people. Also, activate the notification bell so every day YouTube will notify you when a new video comes out. While you do that, let's keep going with the video. Number 8 on the list of skirts that are out of style is the bandage skirt. This skirt is very tight, very bold, and known for being part of the sensual style. For me, it's a bit uncomfortable. I don't like this skirt very much, but I have no problem with anyone who does. I just think it can be a little uncomfortable and it's out of style. If you like it, keep wearing it, especially since the 2000s are coming back, so it's possible this skirt might make a comeback too. But right now, we have another option that's much more fashionable and, in my opinion, will make you look much prettier. I'm talking about pencil skirts, particularly the model that falls just below the knee. This is the pencil skirt style that's most in fashion fashion for 2026. It's a more elegant and sophisticated model that works both for the office and for more relaxed occasions that still require a slightly formal touch. It's a skirt that generally fits closer to the body and therefore is also part of the sensual style, but in a much subtler way. When we talk about sensual style here, we're not talking about anything extreme, okay ladies? It's just because these are pieces that fit closer to the body. That's why they fall into that category. This is a piece that works very well in the work environment. It gives that office-core look and, for that reason, pairs beautifully with blazers, pumps, and structured handbags, everything that evokes traditional, office-core, and tailored styles. As for colors, you can choose whichever you like best. However, lately, I've noticed a strong presence of shades like black, gray, brown, and burgundy red. Among softer tones, I've also seen the appearance of pink neutral, easy-to-match shades. The material of these skirts is usually a bit more structured, not stiff, but with good support. And here you can even choose options like denim or tulle if you prefer a slightly more durable fabric. These skirts often come with a slit, which can be in the front, back, or on the side. A side slit gives a slightly bolder look, a back slit offers subtle sensuality, and a front slit is a bit more traditional. Personally, I love combining this skirt with a classic shirt and pumps. It looks absolutely stunning. In terms of color combinations, you can go for the traditional black and white. I also love the combination of white, navy blue, and burgundy, for example. A navy skirt with a white shirt and burgundy accessories like a bag and pumps looks simply breathtaking. It's also very chic to wear matching sets. A blazer and skirt combo looks wonderful. When wearing that blazer, if you want a more feminine touch, choose a fitted blazer or one that can be cinched with a belt. That way, you'll look stunning. Speaking of belts, this is a skirt that goes perfectly with statement belts, which are very trendy for 2026, meaning several complementary trends coming together. If you like that office core style, this skirt is perfect for you. It pairs beautifully with tailored pieces. So, if you love a good blazer, pumps, a belt, and a structured bag, all those elements that define this style, this skirt is ideal. It might just be the piece your wardrobe is missing. Number 9. Among the skirts that are out of fashion are printed and very colorful skirts. That type of skirt that has lots and lots of colors and images, so much that you can't tell where one thing starts and another ends. This type of skirt is definitely out of fashion. In fact, it can even give the impression that you created a patchwork skirt, so it doesn't look good and doesn't flatter anyone. We have a creative and modern option that is super trendy for 2026. Of course, I am talking about the polka dot skirt. The polka dot skirt is sweet, feminine, and very delicate. It's the type of skirt that anyone can wear. In fact, within the 2026 trends, we will see slightly smaller and more delicate polka dots. Usually, the colors will come in shades with a black, brown, or navy blue background. In fact, I have been seeing quite a few pieces with a brown background, and I believe it will be a big hit of 2026. After all, we are not seeing this quantity of pieces without reason. Polka dots are a creative, youthful, and balanced print, and at the same time, they are not overly bold or attention-grabbing, especially when we talk about smaller polka dots. If we use a very large polka dot, it is obvious that it will attract attention, but when we talk about the polka dot that is the main trend of 2026, it is more discreet and also easier to match. This is the type of skirt that is very versatile. You can pair it with sneakers, flats, or Mary Janes. It depends a lot on the style you want. If you want a more sophisticated style, you can choose flats and on top, opt for a vest worn as a blouse. If you want a more casual version, choose, for example, sneakers and a t-shirt on top. For a more romantic look, choose Mary Janes. For a more alternative and urban look, choose boots. In other words, it's a skirt that also brings a lot of versatility, which is simply wonderful. As I mentioned earlier, you can choose the color combination, but I would say that if you want a more modern piece, the option of white polka dots on a dark background or white divided by off-white polka dots on a brown background are the options that bring the most modernity. Meanwhile, black dots on a white background will bring a more retro touch, which is not a problem at all, but it is not as modern. It refers to older pieces with that vintage or retro touch. So, it really depends on the style you are looking for. It is always worth remembering that smaller polka dots tend to rejuvenate and also enhance those beauties with delicate features. So, If you have small eyes, a small nose, and a small mouth, smaller polka dots will work for you. Larger polka dots usually work for taller women, or those who appear taller. That woman with a more model-like structure will look very beautiful with larger polka dots. It's no use being a short woman and wanting to wear giant polka dots. It won't flatter you. In fact, this outfit will arrive before you do, drawing exaggerated attention. So, keep that in mind when choosing your polka dot skirt. Remember that, in 2026, you can mix trends. For example, choose a polka dot skirt with slight transparency. This way, you combine the transparency trend with polka dots. You can also replace the black background with a brown background, doing that contrast trick, toning it down and bringing a more sophisticated air. That rich girl vibe, you know, which I know you love. So, with these small tricks, you will achieve an excellent composition and a skirt that will become your favorite. And speaking of favorite pieces, how about discovering which pieces will make you look younger in 2026 and which trends you should avoid at all costs to not age? Want to know which ones? Just click on this video that is appearing on your screen. I'll see you there.